In this tutorial, we'll discuss getting started with dictation in Dual Writer. Now that you've taken the Windows Speech tutorial and turned on speech recognition in Windows, you'll see a new control on your desktop. This is the Shared Recognizer, and this control is used to operate the Windows operating system and applications. All you need to know with Dual Writer is that Dual Writer doesn't use it. So just right-click the microphone and choose Off. Do not listen to anything I say. And then just drag it out of the way. So now we will begin dictation in Dual Writer. All you need to do is click the Dictation tab. This takes you to the Dual Writer speech controls. On the left is a dictation button. Just click it and you can begin dictating. I just clicked the Dictation button. Period. Dictation is now on, period. Now I click the button off and dictation is off. You can manually click the button to turn it on and off, or you can use the commands start listening and stop listening. Dictation is now on again, period. Stop listening. Now dictation is paused, and Dual Writer will not take dictation again until you say start listening. Start listening. Dictation is on again, period. Stop listening. When you dictate into Dual Writer, you will see the things you say appear in the Dual Writer recognition window. If it doesn't understand what you say, there will be a yellow border that tells you what Dual Writer heard, but it wasn't sure if it was correct, so it did not enter it into the document. Also, when you speak and text is entered into your document, you will hear a click sound. So then you know that something was entered into the document. So if you're not looking at your document and you hear a click sound, something was entered. Well, let's try it. Start listening. New paragraph. She said, "Let's go for a walk," period. Stop listening. Now the first thing you notice about doing dictation is that it's different from speaking to another person. You need to say punctuation, and you also need to say new paragraph and new line. These are the most important commands that you'll need to remember when you're doing dictation. Remember periods, commas, new paragraph, and new line. Now a new paragraph begins a completely new paragraph. New line just moves the cursor down to the next line and it keeps within the same paragraph. Start listening. New paragraph. She said, comma, "Let's go for a walk," period. New line. This is a new line, period. New paragraph. I like spinach, open paren, but not very much, close paren, period. Stop listening. Now you can see that punctuation marks can be said as you speak your sentences, and Dual Writer will put them in. It knows that open paren and open quote are not words, but they are symbols to be entered into the document. But it's rather hard to say those as you are actually doing dictation. It's really simple to go back during your second draft and go ahead and just add them. So let's do that. I'll dictate a new sentence and then add the punctuation later, just using the mouse and saying the punctuation marks. Start listening. New paragraph. She said, "Let's go for a walk." Comma. Open quote. Period, close quote. Stop listening. So you can see it's really easy to go back during a second draft and add any punctuation that you missed. Now before we end, let's talk about some tips for doing dictation. Start listening. New paragraph. Speak naturally, comma, and don't wait for Dual Writer to enter into your document the text you said, period. Stop listening. You can see that while you're speaking, Dual Writer is calculating what to enter into the document, and you don't need to worry about that. Just go ahead and keep speaking, and when you're done, the text will be entered automatically. Just go on to your next sentence. Start listening. New paragraph. Speak clearly, period. Stop listening. Now this goes without saying that you need to speak clearly, but dictation is quite different than speaking to another person. Other people can understand what you're saying quite well, even if you're not speaking clearly. But when you're doing dictation, you need to imagine that you're a newscaster giving the news, and every word needs to be articulated clearly. With practice, you'll get better at doing that, and Dual Writer will get better at understanding you. Start listening. New paragraph. Single words are difficult to understand, comma. You should speak in phrases and sentences, period. Stop listening. It may seem strange, but it's more difficult for the speech recognition system to understand individual words than it is to understand a phrase or a sentence. So let me give you an example of how not to dictate. Start listening. New paragraph. This is not a good way to dictate, period. Stop listening. You can see that individual words give the system a lot of trouble, and you'll see the yellow box indicating that Dual Writer doesn't understand what you said. Start listening. New paragraph. This is a much better way to dictate, period. New paragraph. Don't worry about mistakes during your first draft, period. Just keep talking and get your ideas out, period. Stop listening. One of the great benefits of dictation is that it allows you to get your ideas into the document in a way that's much more natural than typing. When you're typing, you're editing in your mind what you want to say before you actually get it out. With dictation, you can just freely speak and get your ideas out in the first draft. Don't worry about mistakes. Just keep talking. Start listening. New paragraph. Keep practicing! Exclamation point. Stop listening. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And at the same time, as you use the dictation system more and more, Dual Writer will get better at understanding what you're saying, so that as time goes on, you'll be more productive writing papers for school or reports at work. In the next tutorial, we'll talk about making corrections.